Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin. This cycle is not over. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Also check out the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com. You will get access to weekly reports and videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the Telegram chat room, the risk dashboard, and more. I do provide a lot of value there, so make sure you guys check it out. The prices on that on the monthly are going to be going up in about 1 week, so you can lock in the low rate if you sign up before then. Now, I've taken inventory on a lot of different theories floating around the cryptoverse, and clearly there's a lot of bullish narratives and a lot of bearish narratives. And I personally am leaning extremely bullish at this phase. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about and sort of address is some of the bearish narratives and why relying on just like one or two things can get you into trouble. Okay, it really can, and you know it can get your portfolio somewhat wrecked if you're constantly relying on one thing to play out over and over again. It's that exact deterministic thinking that is not good, and I've shown many indicators on this channel. I try to be as unbiased as possible, and I show everything that I see. And I say, well, I've compiled all of the evidence, right? All of the evidence to, one way or the other. And there are things that lean bullish, there are things that lean bearish, but the evidence is overwhelmingly bullish. But there are some, I think, that focus so much on just a couple indicators that might lean bearish that I think they're missing the forest for the trees, to say the least, okay? Let me give you some examples. So one thing to note why this cycle is actually playing out differently already than the prior cycles. And it's one of the things that a lot of people have been talking about. This was a drop to the 50-week. And we talked about this, and I said before we bounced off the 50-week, I said, look guys, a 50-week bounce is pretty standard for Bitcoin. And that's not the hard part. We bounce off the 50-week all the time. We bounced off of it here. We didn't even break the 20-week. We bounced off of it here. We broke it and then failed to hold it as support. Okay, so we look at this and say, well, so far Bitcoin was unable to, once it fell to the 50-week, it was a sign of bearish times ahead. And we speculated back in April over here. I said, look guys, we're ahead of schedule. We need to drop, right? It makes sense for us to go into a lull in the market. We've gone too far ahead. Let's drop back down, regain some confidence. Let's prove that we have support. That's what we did. We dropped down to the 50-week and then bounced. And then it seems like every single bear came out of the forest to say this is a dead cat bounce and we're going back down. We said, well, hold on a second. The easy part was always bouncing off the 50-week. The hard part is holding the line. That's what I would like to see. I don't care about going above the 20-week. I just want to see Bitcoin hold the damn line. And if it can, then it seems like it's relatively clear skies ahead. What's interesting, and I want to draw your attention to this, what's interesting, look at this move here. Okay, look at this move off the 50-week back in April of 2014, which I've seen some of the more bearish leaning analysts look at. Look at the bounce off the 50-week above the 20-week. Okay, now look at this. Look at the cross of the 50-week and the 20-week. Look at that cross right here. We had a drop, a significant drop at that point. After that cross, remember that, after that cross we had a significant drop. We did not hold the line, in fact. We got above it, we walked the line, we did not hold it, okay? We did not hold it. And then the next time we came to the 50-week, that was all she wrote, and we went into long reaccumulation. It was just all she wrote, right? That was what it is. You go over here, bounced off the 50-week up to the 20. This one was so weak, we couldn't even get above the 20-week after a bounce off the 50-week. That's how weak it was. We couldn't even get back above the 20-week SMA. Back to the 50, and what happened after the 50? Failure, one final rally up to the 50-week. We had the 20-week and 50-week cross. And that was all she wrote, right? That was all she wrote. What happened this time? Well, so far this time, a bounce to the 50-week, back up, so we showed more strength than we did back in 2017 because we were at least able to get back above the 20-week moving average. But we also have shown more strength than 2013 or 2014, when after we got above the 20-week, we did not hold it as support, and we fell below it when the 20-week and the 50-week crossed, down into oblivion. You go to today, what's happening? Down to the 50-week, up above the 20, down into our September drop, right? Our typical September drop. Average is -6%, or it was. We hit -7% in September. Business as usual, of course. Down. Bitcoin held the line at the 20-week. And look at this. It even had wicks close to the 50-week. Our friendly 50-week SMA coming to maybe provide even a little bit more support to the 20-week. And so far, it looks like they might avoid each other. They might not even cross at this point. Because now look, we talked about this for a while. The 20-week starting to move up. This is important, and this is what we discussed at length for weeks and weeks and weeks, is that we just needed a few more weeks, and the 20-week SMA should start moving higher. And the reason is because if you go back 20 weeks, we're no longer including these over here, but we're going to be replacing weeks down here with weeks up here. And when we do that, the 20-week is going to start moving back up. Starting moving back up, and just in the nick of time to start moving back up before the 50-week caught up to it. Now it's slowly moving up. The 20-week is moving up. We came back down. We held the 20-week as support. So the point is to say, it's deterministic thinking on what has to happen just because of a couple different indicators that gets you into trouble. It's sort of like looking at a pi cycle top and saying that just because you had a pi cycle top there, that's the end of the cycle. What's funny is we also had the same thing in 2013, even if you go by the pi cycle top. We had a top halfway, in April, in fact. In April, the same month we had it over here, and it did not preclude us from continuing on. Now, granted, we didn't go to the 50-week over here, but the point is to say, do not be overly deterministic in your thinking. If you rely on only one or two indicators to tell you what's going to happen, you're more than likely going to get wrecked in the long term, because Bitcoin is not going to play out the exact same way every single cycle. It's just simply not. 2013 was a double peak cycle. This one was a single peak cycle. I told you guys last year and early this year that this is looking like it's going to be at the very least a double peak cycle. For all we know, it's going to be a triple peak cycle. I don't know. I mean, we got to see how high the next one takes us if in fact we do end up breaking to new all-time highs, which I think is a likely possibility. So we look at this and we have to say, it looks pretty bullish, right? It looks pretty bullish. Now, what I've seen, I've certainly seen people, some bears redraw some lines. And look, that's okay. Like, people are allowed to redraw lines. It's not like any line is set in stone. And still, theoretically, their redrawn lines could end up being correct. But the point is, it's better to look at the data for what it is than to already come up with your narrative and then find evidence to support it. Okay? So try to look at the chart from an unbiased perspective, rather than figuring out ahead of time what you think is going to happen and then finding evidence to support it. This is a really dangerous thing. It's easy to say, if we were in debate club or something, and I said, all right, someone's going to take the bulls, someone else take the bears, and then argue your point. You should be able to look at a chart and make a case either way, right? I mean, you should be able to make a case either way. Clearly, under certain circumstances, it's going to be a lot easier for the bull to make the case, and other circumstances, it'll be easier for the bear to make the case. But you should be able to make arguments both ways. And if you are so set in your ways that you cannot see both sides of the argument, then you are falling into deterministic thinking. Arguably, me saying in the title of the video that the market cycle is not over, to some degree, is in fact deterministic. But I've also said before, I've compiled all the evidence, right? We've looked at cycle length from the halving, from the bottom. We've looked at on-chain analysis. We've looked at institutions pouring in every single cycle. There's more for people to speculate on. It doesn't seem like, and we also held the damn line, right? When's the last time we held the line after going to the 50-week? Never have we held the line on the 20-week after the first bounce off the 50-week. Look, again, don't take my word for it. Let's go look. Off the 50-week, we didn't hold the line. Off the 50-week, we didn't hold the line. Even over here, off the 50-week, we didn't hold the line. So we were 3 up, 3 down so far. Fourth try, I guess, is the charm these days. We've held the line so far. Now, to immediately claim, outright victory might be getting a little ahead of myself. But the point is no matter what happens, I don't remember many bears saying that a 55K Bitcoin was going to happen. My recollection was that it was only going to go up, according to them, 51, 52, 53K, and then that was it. And now that it's climbed to 55K, there's just another reason why there's another line in the sand that it has to cross in order for the market to be bullish. But I'm telling you now, we held the line at the 20-week SMA. I'm leaning bullish, right? I'm leaning bullish. It's not easy. It's not easy to say those kinds of things, especially when Bitcoin is up more than 10x in a year. But all things considered, it looks like the market is leaning bullish at the current time, and I do think that only looking at one or two indicators to try to figure out why the market might be going one way or another is not really that smart, and it's very deterministic. Be somewhat open-minded. I think it's a much better way to navigate crypto than to figure out what the narrative is ahead of time and then to find evidence to support it. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Remember to check out the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com if you want to know how I'm navigating these markets. The price will be going up in 1 week. Subscribe, click the bell icon to turn on your notifications, give the video a thumbs up. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.